Are we hot to trot or what?
Yep.
Okay. We are gonna make a little concoction today. I lied. I said I was only gonna be taking a couple things. I'm adding something. I'm gonna add some Tren and Deca. I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna add some creatine. What happened to my better music? Did I just get switched here? Let's. What do you guys feel like? How angry are we here? Sal's now transitioned to gospel music. I don't know if I can get pumped to that. Let's. I'm feeling like some Disturbed today. How about that? Is that too angry for us today? Okay. So we're going to do a little concoction here today. Obviously, every day I'm doing the LMNT twice a day. I actually haven't done it yet today. Normally when we podcast, I'll do one during the podcast. And then I've been doing the EAAs, aminos from Keon. So today we're going to try and combine some stuff. Let's, and I'm adding something. Hopefully it tastes all right. So just some plain creatine. This is not flavored at all, but I did say I was only going to be taking a few things, and I promised you guys I would tell you if I add anything. I probably should have told you that eventually I'd be taking creatine for sure, right? It's kind of a no-brainer. The thing with creatine is I'm terrible about being consistent. I'm going to do my best to be really consistent with this. So Keon makes just a plain old creatine monohydrate, all the other bullshit that's out there, overrated, expensive, you don't need it, just the basic stuff. So I'm going to do their powder. You guys have been seeing me take the pill version of their EAAs. I'm going to do the powder version today, and the powder is mango flavored. So what do you guys think? You think mango flavored will go okay with watermelon? Is watermelon mango a flavor?
I actually did that the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see if that doesn't taste horrible. So we've got the creatine, which is flavorless, and then we have the mango Keon EAAs, and then the LMNT electrolyte in here. This is going to be my pre-workout or intro workout drink I got going on here. So let's see how this goes. Okay, here we go. That's actually pretty bomb. That's pretty bomb right there, actually. Got myself a new little cocktail. I can get down with that. Damn, that's actually pretty good. That's hella good. Let me clean my mess up a little bit here, since I'm a little bit of a neat freak. I think yesterday was a really good move to just do some arms. So that was nice. I gave my legs another day of rest. And why was because I didn't want to do a really weak leg work. I wanted to get after my legs a little bit, and now they feel pretty good. They're not 100% recovered, but I'm close. I'm close enough, let's say, for me to feel good about getting after a little bit more. So I'm definitely going to train legs today, which I'm excited that I can get those again. I was kind of worried today that I was going to have to do some more weak-ass stuff. But now that that's feeling pretty good, I'm going to be able to get them. Oh, yeah, they feel much better. Oh, I tell you, 90s changed my life. I never, ever really worked on my hip mobility, or any mobility for that matter. And really working on my hip mobility allowed me to get a much deeper squat than I ever used to. I used to have to spread my feet out real wide and then barely could get down to 90 degrees, because any lower than that, I felt it everywhere. I felt it in my low back. I felt it in my hips. And I subscribe to like what you hear some of these guys online talk about, where they're like, yeah, not everybody has the morphology to be able to squat. We're all different. We have different femurs and inserts and pelvises. And so, not everybody is going to be able to squat full range of motion. So being a young 20-something-year-old kid, that was all I needed to hear. Oh, okay, that's why I don't go all the way down. Instead of maybe addressing that, maybe I have some mobility issues. And then address the hip mobility. Then I remember when I met my good friend, now Dr. Justin Brink, and he's a mobility specialist. He did an assessment on me, and he's like, "Oh, Adam, it's your ankle mobility." My ankle mobility? What do you mean? He's like, "Yeah." He's like, and he broke it down and showed me how my heels would rise as I would try and break down below. And then after my heel would rise, my chest would fall forward. I'd overcompensate. And then everything was breaking down from there. He's like, "Yeah, you need to continue to work on that hip mobility like you're doing, but you need to address the ankles now." And then once I did that, holy moly, I could get down in a deep ass to grass squat for the first time in my life. And I was 30 years old. So, and then after I got to a place where I could do that, all my low back pain I used to have went away. It's magical. And my legs grew. So that was a nice bonus. Oh yeah, legs feel good. Still a tiny bit sore, but we feel good for sure. The key when you're doing this is what I'm thinking about intrinsically, right? So this is not a passive stretch. It's an active stretch. So a passive stretch would be something that we do where we just kind of relax into the stretch. We focus on breathing, and you're trying to relax the body. I'm actually not doing that. So as I sink down into the stretch, I'm driving my knee into the ground and my ankle, I'm pushing it in there. That's lighting up and engaging all those muscles back there. And this is what I want to do before I go into a workout. I don't want to do a stretch that relaxes the body. I want to do a stretch that activates the body. This is a mistake I think we all did as kids in sports back in the 80s and the 90s. We didn't know better. And we do all these passive stretches. We'd relax all these muscles and then go run on a soccer field or a basketball or football field and get injured. Why? Because we relaxed a bunch of muscles that we called upon explosively. That was a terrible idea. So if you ever see your kids doing these stretches where they do these long holds and they're relaxing in the stretch, you have a coach that's not very educated. And a lot of times it's because it's somebody's dad is volunteering, so it's understandable. But you want to do an active type of stretch or mobility, right, is what I call. And I'm thinking about pushing that knee in the ground, driving the ankle in, lighten up that whole backside. I can feel my piriformis, my glutes all on fire right now from pushing and driving in the floor. Come out of the stretch, relax, sink back in, push on it again, light it all up. Oh, yeah, it feels good. One more on each side real quick. All right. Now it feels real comfortable to sit down in there. Did you believe that I couldn't do this? Now being 40-something years old and be able to sit down there, no problem. So the other thing would be my ankle mobility, right? It's funny because as trainers, we used to teach, you don't want your knees to go over your toes. It puts too much stress on the knee. That was terrible advice I used to give. Didn't know that. What I really want to be able to do is I want to improve my ankle mobility so that my knees can travel. My knees are going that far over. If I can get to here, that's even better. Without my heel coming off the ground, of course, because that shows how much ankle mobility I have. Why that's so important is when you get into a really deep squat in this position, my knees are going to have to be over my toes in order to do that. If they stop behind that, I would fall backwards. A little combat stretch to warm up. Same thing here. I'm going to drive my knee into the stretch. And then what I'm thinking is intrinsic. I'm trying to lift my toes up. It lights all these muscles up. I'm trying to wake them all up so I can sink deeper into that stretch. Then come out of it. Sink back in. Again, as I sink all the way into the deep stretch position. And then I'm trying to activate lifting my toes, trying to lift my toes up off the ground same time as I'm driving. Also keeping an eye on keeping my heel down. I'm out of it. Drive forward, lift. I'm out. Oh, yeah. Now the nice part about today too, I'm gonna choose a leg exercise that will also still kind of stretch me out. So I think I'm gonna do walking lunges today. And reason for that is I just want to take big long strides. I'm not going to do very much weight. Maybe I'll put the 45-pound bar on me. Maybe I'll do body weight. I tell you what, I'll do body weight on the first round, and then I'll go up if I feel really good. And what I'll do is, as I do the walking lunges, I'm really going to emphasize getting nice long strides, really stretching everything out. So there's a part of me that wants to send a signal to build muscle, at the same time too, kind of stretch and kind of do kind of mobility combined, right? To kind of help facilitate the recovery still. So what would be a bad idea, just because I feel okay on my legs, is to go back to the squats and heavy load and go push them even harder right now. Rather do something that's gonna send a signal to build some more muscle, but at the same time too, don't want to overreach like I did the first time I did legs. So that's kind of the thought process behind why we're going to do the lunges first. So you know what I need to do is I need to get a suspension trainer out on one of the racks pretty soon here, because I want to get back to doing my W's. And today, for you all, I made sure to wear the proper attire. Got my Zero shoes on today. These feel great. It almost feels like I'm barefoot, only I can feel the grip on the ground. So I'll get some walking lunges, just body weight first. And again, like I said, big long strides. Ooh, that felt good, actually. We just 10 out, 10 back. Now, I probably should stay with that, but I'm also a bit of an asshole. So I am going to put a little weight on. So okay, so we'll do the walking lunges this time with the bar. Try not to knock our cameras over and stuff, huh?
I would just kind of trust it because it's looks like there's so that actual operation.
It's wild. I can feel, just from doing the walking lunges, the instability that I have right now. All good though. Okay. That feels really good. Feels like I can do a lot more too. I don't know if I want to mess with that though. Feels like I'll probably slap quarters on there. But here's an example. I said I noticed the instability, right? As going, what I mean by that is my balance, right? As I'm going side to side, which what I know is that I haven't done any specific unilateral work at all because I haven't done anything. And so one of the beauties of doing unilateral like that, meaning one side and the other side, one side, the other side, is my body has to balance versus if both feet are planted like doing a squat. So that instability component lights up all these stabilizer muscles. So even though the weight I know isn't very heavy, and oh yeah, I could go up, but just because I can feel the instability, I know I'm waking up all these stabilizer muscles that have gotten no attention. And so, you know, once again, why press the weight? I'm gonna do enough to elicit some change and growth, and it won't take very much. But, and like I said the other day, quality of reps trumps everything else. I think Arnold was famous for saying he could come in the gym and do one exercise that would be more effective than someone's entire hour workout. Some people might think that's crazy or unrealistic. I don't disagree at all. I think that if you know how to get the most out of every single rep from every bit of that exercise, then I think it can be more valuable. You get more return in the context of building muscle than the guy or the girl who just goes to the gym and is just going through the movements, caring more about sweating and pushing their body than they are about mastering the movement. Master the movement, get the quality of it up, gets the return on the investment. So, you know, if this is too light, I could slow it down. I could balance between each one, really start to light everything up. I'll do at least one more, maybe two more, just because I did a body weight one first. Oh yeah, I think we do one more of those. So I should share that I did do something last night that I didn't video and tell you guys about, so I'll tell you now. So I told you that when we did squats on day one, we overreached and definitely got more sore than I would have liked. So something I have at my house that will help in situations like that is the red light therapy. So the red light has been shown to accelerate recovery. So last night, I was still pretty sore when I got out of the shower, and I like to try and be good about sitting in my red light anyways. I specifically was doing body weight squats and stretches in front of the red light. So I'm trying to get the benefits of the red light to accelerate the recovery on my legs while simultaneously stretching my legs because I know that is going to facilitate recovery. So here's a little thing that you can do to help when you too do the same damn thing that I did, because this won't be the last time in this journey that I make a mistake and overreach more than I need to get the best benefits. So when those times do happen, there's things that you can do, like cold plunging will help that. Obviously mobility and stretching, red light therapy, massage. My wife's a massage therapist, so that used to be my hack before she started working so much and until my son came along. Once my son came along, he took a higher priority. But back in the days, one of my super hacks when I was competing was Katrina was still running her massage clinic. So, and she used to love to massage me. So when I'd have these heavy leg training days, I would make sure I schedule a 90-minute session where she would just work on my legs. And boy, I guess I didn't realize how impactful that was for the recovery process until I didn't have it. As years later now, I unfortunately don't get that much attention. She still massages me, but not like she used to. And now I really recognize it and appreciate it more than I did before. So I know it's expensive for people, so it's not like a go-to thing, but if you've got the expendable income to hire a deep tissue or massage therapist, oh boy, they're worth their weight in gold, especially when you're training hard. If you're training hard, you're pushing the limits, you know you're overreaching a lot, getting really, really sore like that, having someone get in there and work the muscle, take it through range of motion, get some blood flow, oxygen moving, that promotes more nutrients in there. That's just going to speed up that recovery. So total hack for somebody who can afford to do that. I know it's expensive, but there's ways you can kind of do this yourself, right? Like this is what are the benefits of like foam rolling and mobility and stretching. Like you don't have to pay a massage therapist $150 an hour. It's just nice, right? You worked all day, you trained really hard. All you gotta do is lay on a table, let her do the work. But reality is not everybody can afford to do that. So poor man version of that would be giving yourself a really nice self-myofascial release, right? So foam rolling the legs really good and stretching and maybe like a hot tub or a bath, like that'll help do the same thing. You just have to put the work in. So there is a less expensive version of that, but if you can afford it, I tell you what, it's a nice luxury. Okay, let's do one more. One more. Hopefully you feel a little bit of a pump in those legs and those glutes. Oh yeah, definitely. Whew. Actually could feel my legs even shaking a little bit in the last few reps. Always can measure how out of shape I am by how much leg training makes me feel like I'm doing cardio. Speaking of cardio, right now there's none of that. So my goal isn't to lose a bunch of weight. I want to preserve as much muscle, or in my case, build as much muscle without putting on any body fat and potentially losing body fat. So what I'm attempting to do is what we argue in the space as one of the most difficult things to do, or the Goldilocks zone. Can I reduce my body fat percentage while simultaneously building muscle and losing fat? So in the context of looking at it over the course of a month, that's possible. Now the science will tell you you're not technically doing it at the same time. Meaning in that month, there's periods of time when my body is getting enough calories to support muscle growth. And then there's times when it's naturally going to be at a deficit and promotes my body being catabolic or burning body fat. So it's not that I come in here, I train, I eat, and tomorrow my body built 1 pound of muscle and it burned 1 pound of fat. That's not realistically what's going on. What happens if we do this right, in a month, we'll look at my body fat test, and my body fat will have gone from 15.8, say, down to 15 or 14.5 range, but yet I went up on the scale, body weight wise. So I go to 203 pounds, and yet the body fat percentage went down. So what happened there? Well, first of all, I built lean body mass. And your body fat percentage is a percentage of fat mass. And if I add good muscle and don't put any body fat on, I actually technically get leaner as a whole, even if I didn't burn that much body fat. But what will normally happen is I'll have lost a little bit of fat and I'll have built a little bit of muscle, resulting in a lower body fat percentage, an increase in lean body mass, and a decrease of fat mass. Now, this is a very slow process, and it fucks most people psychologically because most people use the scale and the mirror as their main way of judging on how good their workout or their diet is. And so what's difficult about doing what we're doing is not so much the work. As you can see, I'm not even doing that much work. It's actually the psychological part of putting in all the work, making good whole food choices, eating good, hitting protein, and then looking at the scale and it staying the same, or looking in the mirror and going, I don't feel like I look that much better. So that's the hardest part. Because of my experience, I know if I've increased protein intake, which I know I'm doing, and I'm making even better food choices than what I was before. So I'm all whole food right now. So clean the diet up, hitting protein intake. I wasn't doing any sort of strength training, so I'm sending a stimulus to do that right now. There's no doubt in my mind we're moving in the right direction. But if I were to judge myself off the mirror, well, yeah, I don't look much better than what I did on Monday, you know. And my scale, I think yesterday, I didn't weigh today, but yesterday was exactly the same. So it looks like I'm not moving in any direction right now, but I know what's going on. I know that I am. So that is the part that fucks with all the clients, is they see that and they feel the huffing and puffing, the sweating, no, I didn't eat ice cream. I made a chicken breast and rice decision. And they go, where's my rewards? I don't see it in the mirror. I don't see it on the scale. My trainer sucks, or I don't know what I'm doing. And then they overcorrect. And they start doing cardio like crazy, or they cut their calories. And one of the worst mistakes they can make. And then they get the, false positive, right? They get the confirmation that what they just did was the right thing. Because you know what happens when I cut my calories? If I cut my calories now and increase cardio, I'll get on the scale tomorrow or the next day and I'll be down a pound or two. And then you get this confirmation of, oh, that's what I needed to do. I needed to add cardio every day and I need to eat less. Of course, you reduce your calories, so your carbohydrates come down. What did I tell you guys on the first day about the body fat test? That pulls the glycogen out of the muscle, so that's going to register lower weight on the scale and on the body index. And I'm sweating and burning more calories, so maybe I lost a little bit. But the reality is I'll probably have lost just as much muscle as I did fat. So no cardio for us yet. That won't be for a long time. Right now, I'll help build my cardio endurance just by doing this type of shit. Okay, I'm gonna do some back stuff today, but I'm gonna do something that's a little more challenging. You've been seeing me do a lot of rows and corrective. I'm actually gonna pull some weight. Nothing crazy or impressive, but we'll do some barbell rows for back today. So a better back exercise. Yeah, back exercise I've been doing lately has been more corrective stuff. Today we'll do a little bit more for building. And I'm gonna do 135. That's pretty lightweight for me for a row. I say that, and then you're gonna watch me struggle because I'm so weak right now, right? Where's my other good 45 plays over there? Oh, it's in the back. Oh, that clang. Oh, that iconic sound. all you guys that are watching. You guys like that sound too, or is that just me? It's exciting. I guess it's not that exciting right now when you're sliding one on. It gets really exciting when there's a bunch on there and they cling together. Right now, it's just a reminder how weak I am. Rows. Now, bent over rows, the greatest challenge of this for teaching a client is keeping them in neutral spine. Actually, I'm going to show you guys something while I'm doing this. So when I teach a client how to hip hinge properly, this is easier when you have a trainer holding it, but I can hold it to show you. So there's 3 points of contact: back at the nodule of my head, the upper back, and then right down by my hips. And so a perfect hinge, I can keep contact on all 3 of those points. So if I were to get rid of this stick now, that's the perfect place for me to row. Now what you see is a lot of people round and bend over like this. And if you were to put that stick, I wouldn't feel those 3 points of contact. So a PVC pipe or stick mobility like that to get somebody to get into that neutral position, such a great tool. And when you do that, what I'm doing is I'm finding those points of contact, and then I don't bend over, I hinge at the hips to get into position. So now I'm in that fixed position. The next thing I think about is my abs tightening up. So I draw on my core, tighten my abs to keep my spine nice and rigid, and then I'm just bringing that bar right up to my rib cage or my belly button and really think about squeezing the back. So that's what it's going to look like before I do it. Let's see how this feels. I intended for that to be 15. Can't believe how heavy that felt. My back is one of my strongest body parts for me. It's also what used to help me win shows. I had an all right front pose, and then when I turn, my back is what would get me placed. You know that because you do these quarter turns when you're on stage, and then they move you to the center of the stage based off of how good they think you look, right? So if you're ever at a bodybuilding show, if you even give a shit about that stuff, you'll see they line all the guys up, and the guys in the center and the 2 guys to the left and right of center are what the judges think is first, second, and third place. Now that can change, but more than likely, those 3 guys are up for the running for the first place. So many times I'd be on the outside, which means I'm like 4th or 5th place, and we'd be doing a side or a front pose. And then when we turn to our back, I've got a really broad, wide, thick back, and I have a really narrow waist, so it makes it look even more impressive. We turn around to the back, and then you'd hear the judges call my number out and have me move to the center or right next to the center. So that normally is a strength of mine, but I tell you right now, it sure feels pretty weak. I had planned to do 15. I could tell by the 8th rep that 15 would be a lot. So dropped to 12 reps. I'll probably do, so this is real similar to when we squatted, right? I put a weight on that I thought was really light for me. Thought I was gonna do 15 reps. Could tell by the movement, like, oh wow, this is heavier than what I thought. So I dropped to 12. And then I think we did like 10 or 11, and then we did 9. Probably what's gonna happen right here. Grab that weight. I thought I'd power through 15, no problem. 12 felt heavy enough. felt good. I think one of my favorite parts about having you guys film this whole thing is I'm not fucking around on my phone. The last 5-6 years, maybe more, at least after I was done competing, it didn't matter anymore. I justified getting on my phone and working between sets. I don't know, I tell you what, so good for you not to. And why that is because, I mean, obviously I'm talking to you guys, but it gives me the opportunity to focus on my breathing, really recover between sets. I'm 100% here. I'm not checking emails, sponsor stuff, talking to Katrina about business shit, home stuff. I'm just thinking about the bar and the weight right now and my muscles, right? How everything feels. Did anything feel off? Do I feel it in one side more than the other? That ability to be so present in the workout, so much value to that. I think it goes back to what I said about Arnold talking about how you can come in and do one set and it'd be more effective than someone's entire workout. When you're ultra present, you know how to get everything out of every rep. You get a better return on investment. So it's kind of nice that I don't have any phones around me, no work stuff going on. It's just you guys, me, and the weight. All right, one more set here. I'm gonna do one more set. I think, well, you know what? I was gonna do some body weight calf work right now, but maybe I'll save that for tomorrow because I'm not sure how tomorrow's gonna feel. I don't know if my chest will be recovered by then. Shoulders are feeling pretty good. So maybe tomorrow will be shoulders and calves or calves and chest if I feel it. I was gonna do it today, but should probably save a small muscle like that. Keep me busy tomorrow if everything's sore. All right, kids, one more. I'll call it a wrap. Stopped the rep short there. Just started to felt my shoulders really roll forward. It's hard to see in the camera unless you know what you're looking for, but I'm trying to keep my shoulders when I row in to retracting. What makes rows so great, if you do them properly, is gravity and the weight are pulling hard back down towards the floor. And what you're doing is you're resisting that with those lats and then wham, pulling back. What happens as you fatigue, and a lot of times it may not even be the back that's fatigued, the forearms, the shoulders, the biceps, they start to fatigue first a lot of times when you're really weak. And so now they're so weak that my body naturally wants to relax and just let gravity pull it down. And then what ends up happening is those last couple reps, the quality sucks. Ends up me just kind of ripping it with momentum or muscling it up with my arms. Back's not working anymore. Now my forearms get overworked, my biceps. Pointless. Trying to do my back right now. So I felt that on rep 10, 11 there, which is why I put it down. Again, I could get under here, I'm telling you guys right now, rip up 15 to 20 of these, but they wouldn't look pretty. They wouldn't feel pretty. So we called that an 11.
This morning in your Instagram story, you were talking about how it's hard to eat and how oatmeal, all that. Do you want to break that down a little bit?
Yeah, no. So I did a little story in my Instagram today about I was eating Creatures of Habit, their oatmeal, right? I love it because it's got 30 grams of protein. But The reason why I recorded it to share was because I had a moment this morning where I woke up and I had no appetite. And I know that right now I'm really targeting protein. And I know that my natural thing in that was before this week in the morning is to have a cup of coffee or have one of my Celsius energy drinks. And then that caffeine just smashes my appetite even more. So if I would have told myself, oh, I'm not that hungry, I'll just go have my coffee or my caffeine drink, then what I know is that, well, I'd be working out right now on no calories and no protein, which is counterproductive since one, I'm still sore and recovering. So my body is starving for those nutrients, starving for those building blocks, that protein. And then I'm about to go train again. And even though this doesn't look impressive, I am pushing my body more than what it was before. So I'm not feeding it enough to recover from stuff I've been doing. Then I'm going to go in and go train again on an empty stomach. That's a recipe for plateau right there for sure. So oatmeal is kind of easy for me to shovel down. So I would have had a shake or oatmeal like that just so I could get it down. It also, when I make myself do that, even if it's like a small light meal like that, it'll kick the appetite up. So even though I wasn't hungry, I power it down. I get a workout now. And then now after my workout, I'll have more of an appetite once I calm down to eat a much bigger meal. So, and I think this is an area that a lot of people just don't, they go, oh, I'm trying to lose body fat and I'm not hungry, so therefore I'll just skip the meal. But when you know that you're under eating protein and you got to get it in, you got to win those mornings. You got to get ahead of it early on or else you'll end up being behind. And I'll still have a hard time today, probably hitting my 200. I probably won't even get 200, but I knew I had to get that in there. So that was the reason for the video, because it was on top of my mind and I wanted to share it. So now I'm sharing it with you guys. So win that morning, man. And sometimes even when you're not hungry, but you know you're the type of person that has a hard time hitting your protein targets, eat something light. Greek yogurt, cottage cheese. That Creatures of Habit oatmeal is a go-to for me because it's got 30 grams, or a protein shake, something. Even if you're not hungry, get it going. That's what I did.
Are you planning to do 5 days a week or?
Training-wise?
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and do something every day. It may not always be lifting, right? So tomorrow's our day 5, right? Is that right? 5? Yeah, tomorrow's 5. So Mass 15 calls for 6 days of lifting. And so I'm probably going to try and make an effort to do something 7 days a week inside our gym or at home. What the 6th and 7th day might look like is mobility and walking, depending on how my body feels. So if I train tomorrow pretty good, let's say I get chest and shoulders tomorrow, right, and calves or something, and then on Saturday, I feel sore everywhere. I'm probably going to take more of a recovery type of active day where I'll just do mobility, go for a nice long walk or hike with Katrina, or maybe do some small things like calves. So I'm going to stay in the routine of coming in the gym every day because I like that habit, but I will modify what I'm doing based off how I feel. So I would say MAPS 15 is kind of the structure, which basically is two major lifts a day. But I will pull back if I feel like I'm too sore and training too much. So that's the goal.
Do you have any advice for the weekend warrior type mentality people who might find it hard to fit the workouts in on the weekends?
Well, I have a saying that I say on the podcast all the time that you got to win the weekends. For a long time, I had it like as a trainer, I had a good physique, but I didn't have like a bodybuilder competitive physique. And one of the things that was really keeping me from getting to the next level was I ate perfect, trained perfect Monday through Friday. And then like your typical 20-year-old went out partying with my friends on Friday night at the clubs, slept in on Saturday, chilled, played video games, maybe enjoyed a little bit of pizza. Sunday, watched football, slept in again, hung around the house. Then Monday, boom, back on it again. Perfect diet, perfect train all week. And I could never get that next level of physique. I was fit, but I wasn't ripped. I wasn't impressive. And when it came down to once we had tools, that was before we had tools like Bodybug, Oura Ring, Fitbit, where we could really track and really dive into the analytics of what's going on with your metabolism every single day and your movement. And what I saw was, oh my God, when on Monday through Friday as a trainer, I was burning like 4,500 to 5,000 calories a day. I was eating all these good meals, high protein. And then Saturday and Sunday, I was only burning 2,500 calories. And if I was going to eat like shit or drink, it would be on Saturday or Sunday. So I overconsumed and I made bad food choices and underate protein and didn't move. And in my head, I thought, well, that can't be hurting me. It's only 2 days. I'm not perfect. But when I saw it and I started diving in, I was like, oh my God, these 2 days on the weekend were destroying my progress from all my hard work during the week. So I made this shift in my life. I said, okay, if I can take 2 days off of the gym, that's not a big deal. I can take 2 days off of even being strict on the diet. But what I was going to do was, okay, allow that to be during the week and win the weekends. And when I shifted my mindset like that, a huge difference. What I found was if I told myself I had to work out on Saturday and Sunday, I'd have to get up earlier to get it in so I could watch my football or do my things with my friends. Or I found myself not partying as much because I knew I had to get up the next day and go lift. So I would cut back. I knew I didn't want to be hungover. So I started to modify other behaviors by just saying, hey, I'm going to work out Saturday, Sunday. I'll take off some other days during the week. And then I found out when Monday through Friday, when I was in my routine of like training clients and eating my meals, I was so regimented that I had no problem eating clean. I didn't have a desire for pizza. I didn't have a desire to eat out. And so it was a game changer for me. So if you're a weekend warrior or a weekend slacker, my suggestion would be to solve that. Many times that's what keeps the young guy or girl kind of plateaued, is that they do all this great work during the week and Saturday and Sunday, they do enough to not help themselves that it cancels out a lot of the progress they were going to make during the week. So that would be my advice.